Hey everyone, today I have yet another tech survey. This tech survey has been sent to me by Alex. That's youtube.com/amazedalex. So I'll put his link in the video description. If you guys want to send me any tech surveys, I would be very happy to answer them. I'll probably do, if I get a lot, I'll probably do about one a month, something like that. And it's a good way to keep, interacted. If you want to know a lot about me, then just send me a tech survey. So I've got the questions here. There are 10 questions in total in this tech survey, so let me get straight onto the questions. First question, what's your favourite piece of Apple technology? Now, I'm already stuck on the first question, because I own two pieces of Apple technology which I believe to be two of the greatest products of all time. One of them being the iPhone. No matter what model of iPhone you've got, iPhone in general is just a complete revolutionary product. And then I've got another piece of Apple tech, the MacPro, which is just wow. But it's very hard for me to answer, so that gives you the basic idea of what I think. Next question, what was the first Mac that you have acquired? So the first ever Mac that I got, it was a Macintosh Quadra 950. Big desktop tower Mac. It had a key to start it as well, so you turned a key to turn it on, and if you didn't have the key you couldn't power it up. Very cool machine. It often crashed and I got to hear the awesome death sound. It was a very cool machine. Soon after that I got a Quadra 800, then a Macintosh Classic, then I got my MacBook, then my Quicksilver, and so on and so forth. You can see then I started YouTube and you can see what I got. Next one, would you ever leave the Mac platform? As it stands now, there's no way I would leave the Mac platform. The only way I'd leave it is if Apple completely messed up one of their operating systems and Windows had a good operating system and stuff like that, but no, I'm never going to leave the Mac platform unless something goes drastically wrong. What are you planning to upgrade in your Mac Pro? I plan to upgrade, well, the next upgrade I hope to do is to replace my video editing drive with a 2 terabyte drive. Then I'll use my 1 terabyte for my operating system drive, and that'll also have my iTunes library, and then I'll use my 640 gig for Windows 7 to play some games. So that's the next upgrade I'm planning. Then as soon as I do that, I hope to get a 5770. That'll cost me about £200 directly from Apple, but I can sell my X1900 XT for about £100 on eBay, so I'll only be paying about £100 for it, and I'm getting an awesome upgrade. So I plan to do that. And then somewhere down the line, maybe for my birthday next October, I hope to get 8 gigs of RAM. That'll bring me up to a total of 12 gigs. So that's the upgrades I plan on doing. Have you ever tried Linux? What are your thoughts on it? I've got Linux Ubuntu version, God knows, to be honest. Basically I have no room for Linux in my life. I've got Mac, I don't see why I'd need Linux. I've tried it, I've never installed it, I've only run it off Live CD. And that was an older version anyway. That was about a year and a half ago I did that now, so I'm probably quite behind the times. I think it's really good, it's very speedy. I love the way it comes bundled with everything, and I love the way it's free. I love the way it works with everything as well. I think it's a great operating system, but I'm a Mac kind of guy. And that just goes for Ubuntu, by the way. I haven't really looked into anything else. Will you ever get an iPad? No. If I was to get something like that, I would definitely go for the 11-inch MacBook Air over the iPad, just for the simple fact that you can do everything Mac type. It's less of a mobile device and more of a Mac, which is what I'd go for. What gaming consoles do you own altogether? We're going to be here a while. Atari 2600, Atari 7800, multiple versions of the Sega Master System, Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive. Trying to think of them all really. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. Basically all the common ones I've got. I used to have a PS3, I sold it. I used to have a 360, I sold it. You all know about both of them. What videos should we expect during the rest of 2011? Very good question. Expect a lot more to do with older technology. I plan on doing a lot about older audio equipment, older video equipment. I'm really into this 70s and 80s electronics at the moment. I'm really getting into it. Expect a lot more to do with vinyl. Expect the MacPro upgrades. What else can you expect? Obviously a new room tour. Tour of the music room very soon. General stuff like that. Updates to my gaming collections. I plan on making a video about my home cinema and explaining how I've got everything hooked up. Yeah, so stuff like that. What games do you play on your PC? On my actual PC, I don't play any games anymore. My PC was very low spec. On my Mac, I've got what have I got installed? I've got Call of Duty 4, Call of Duty 1 and 2, Max Payne, Colin McRae Rally, Quake 4, Doom 3. I've got all games like that. And then the last question, over the years, approximately how much Apple tech have you acquired in your life? Now, you might be shocked to the answer of this, but everything you've seen on my channel is basically the only Apple tech I've ever had. Let me try and go over everything. I have had, let's start with the Macs. I have had Macintosh Quadra 850, Quadra 800, Macintosh Classic, iMac G3, MacBook, PowerMac G4 Quicksilver, 1 GHz MDD, 1.25 GHz MDD, Macintosh SE, G5, PowerMac G3, Mac Pro. So that's about 12 Macs, give or take a few. I obviously don't own them all. The only ones I own at the moment. Oh, PowerBook G4, duh. Love that thing, really do. So at the moment all I own is my PowerBook G4 for my main notebook, my Mac Pro for my main desktop, my G3 for some slave tasks, and my 1.25 GHz MDD up in the studio. Other than that, I've had an iPhone 3GS, that's what I've got now. I have had a first generation iPod Nano, a second generation iPod Nano, a second generation iPod Shuffle, an 80GB iPod Classic in black. I have had multiple copies of OS X, including Panther, Tiger, Leopard, Snow Leopard. No, not Leopard, sorry, I've never owned Leopard. Just got it unlegitimately. I've actually got 10.2 as well, and 10.1 on original discs. I've got multiple versions of older software, Apple Works and stuff like that. I've got multiple versions of OS 9. I've got a big box OS 7, 7.2 or something with all the original floppies and the CD-ROM and the big instruction manuals. I've owned an Apple external CD-ROM drive, big thing. I don't know if I've ever shown it to you, but I sold it on eBay not so long back. I've owned a big Apple display, one of the big old ones. I got rid of that. I had no room for it. That was years ago now. Probably about 3.5 years ago I owned that. Multiple keyboards and mouse. I've had the original Bluetooth mouse, I've had the Bluetooth Mighty Mouse, original Bluetooth keyboard, the Apple aluminium keyboards, the hockey puck mouse, the USB keyboard, the Pro keyboard, the white Pro keyboard, stuff like that. I had lots of stuff with my iMac G3. I've had quite a lot of Apple stuff. Not to mention all of the software, you know, Final Cut Express and everything like that. But anyway, that's going a little bit too in depth. I hope that has answered all of your questions. So that's it for that tech survey. And feel free to send me another one, guys. So a link to Alex's YouTube channel will be in the video description, youtube.com/amazedalex. Check out his content. And yeah, feel free to send me your tech surveys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.